Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 9th DBQ web seminar that we have been running. This web seminar is part of a series of web seminars that the DBQ project has been conducting. I'd like to welcome everyone to the seminar. My name is Yasin Saleh. I am a representative of Green Cape, which is situated in South Africa. And today's web seminar will cover biogas project management and lessons learned. To give some background to this web seminar, we've had a number of web seminars before this that basically covered a lot of the theoretical background to biogas projects in terms of developing it and how to operate it and how it works. We've looked at some of the European biogas technology and adaptations to emerging markets. We looked at the importance of anaerobic digestion feedstock with its characteristics and potentials. We looked at some of the pre-treatment, post-treatment, and digestate applications, as well as the sustainable biogas production and use. In addition, we had a more advanced web seminar on biomethane, particularly for vehicles and LNG and waste treatment. We looked at the safety measures for these biogas plants and the values of post-treatment and digested applications, again in more depth, so to speak. Putting all of those theories together and those concepts together, we have a nice platform to sort of present now this web seminar, which focuses on the project management for developing these projects as well as implementing these projects. And we've got some great speakers to sort of share their experience of implementing and developing projects within developing markets, so to speak. So in terms of our agenda for today, we will start off with a stakeholder from or presenter from the European Union, Georgi Kirov, who is a representative of Biogas. Sure, can you just get the next slide, please? And then we'll go on to our Argentinian colleague to speak on the biogas projects within Argentina and learn from what they've learned in terms of managing those plants and when those plants have been launched and implemented. And then we'll have a nice, interesting discussion, panel discussion with two experts from South Africa, in addition to the two previous speakers, to discuss project management in developing markets for biogas. And we'll open the floor for questions and answers to the panel from the audience, and we'll close out the web seminar at 2:30 Central European time, so to speak. Next slide, please. Just some house rules for this web seminar. You can ask questions by typing it in the question box on your screen. Keep your questions clear and concise, and follow the chat room, as one of the moderators might address your question within that chat room. We'll try and stick to time as strictly as possible. We would not like to have the web seminar run over time. All the data that we collected in terms of the registration process and the questions being asked, as well as the chat, is used for identification and notification purposes only, and will not be used for other purposes by organizers. And it's also key to note that this presentation web seminar is being recorded and will be made available on the DBQ website as well as the DBQ YouTube channel. Thank you, Central. Next slide, please. So to introduce our first two speakers, as I mentioned, Georgi Kirov is our first speaker that will be speaking on the European perspective and sharing with us his experience of working in developing biogas markets. Georgi has been working with Biogas since 2013 as the head of sales and market and development management, and has 14 years experience in the renewable energy sector. Georgi has previously worked 7 years for Rehau as the team leader business unit, particularly for the biogas and biomass technologies. And during his stay, they established biogas license partnerships in a few Asian countries, and they represented the company on various platforms. Our second speaker, Jorge Antonio Hilbert, is from Argentina. He is an agronomic engineer with a master's degree in farm mechanization and has a doctorate in science and technology. He's the former national coordinator of the bioenergy program within Argentina and the director of the Rural Engineering Institute, INTER. Presently, he's an international consultant of INTER in innovation activities and a member of the scientific advisory board in INAS. He's also the author of 7 books and more than 81 research papers and 218 articles published in different media in Argentina and on a global perspective as well. Next slide, please, Central. And then our 2 panelists from South Africa that is joining the panel discussion at a later stage. The first one is Dwight Rosley from Selectra. Dwight is a founding member and CEO of Selectra. Selectra was originally established in 1987 and began developing waste treatment solutions from 1998. Dwight is a professional business executive and with extensive experience of business and project development that includes assignments in Ghana and Nigeria as well as South Africa. And last but not least, Dennis Steele from Energy Africa. Dennis is currently the managing director of Energy Africa, the African subsidiary of a global leader in waste to energy technologies, Energy Incorporated. Dennis holds a BSc degree in industrial engineering from the University of Stuttgart, and sorry, I just lost that slide, so and has a master's in sustainable engineering, energy engineering from the University of Cape Town. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to the first presenter for our web seminar, which will be Georgie Kirov. Georgie, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Yes. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for the invitation to be part of this nice webinar and seminar. I need to switch on my to start my presentation. Is it visible for everyone?
We've lost it now.
Yes.
We're not seeing it at the moment.
Not seeing?
I have a sign in my computer to show my screen. Maybe it's.
You see it, Central? There we go. There we go. That's perfect, Georgie.
Now it's okay?
Yeah, perfect. You can begin.
Okay, so thank you again for the invitation. I would like to share some practical experience with how we are doing project management. I will begin with short introduction about biogas to know who is biogas. So biogas is international biomethane and biogas manufacturer based in headquarters in Austria, in Vienna. So we have at the moment 50–60% they are working for us. We built more than 160 biogas plants all over the world, but the most of them are in Europe. And then you have overview there, what we are doing. The main business is the biogas engineering. So that means from the design, construction, the plants. We have also own plants. So we have in several countries own plants in operation with some partner like farmers and so on. And we have also agricultural business. So why these three business units to be more stable? Because you know the biogas business is from year to year is not so easy. So we have some support from governments in Europe or in other countries on the reduction from carbon and so on. But so we stay with these three businesses, but our main business is of course the biogas engineering. So we have more than 30 years experience in this, and we build plants in more than 20 countries. Our head office is in Austria. We have two in Vienna and Linz. Then we have in US in Denver, UK, France, Czech Republic, Italy, Romania, and also Serbia. And for the other countries, we have also some partnerships and license partnerships. What we offer, so we offer the full development from the biogas plants. I mean, starting with the project development, then design engineering. If the client needs some help with the equity, because it's sometimes it's very tough so to find to get the bank loan without equity, so we help also there. So it's co-investor with some percentage, and we build also we provide turnkey construction. The main is turnkey construction is in Europe, so in the other countries, so we are cooperating with partnerships. And of course, step 5, we are doing also service, and if required, we can do also operation, operation and management from the biogas plants. We have 4 core technologies. So the big one is the power ring. So this is the most efficient all-round digester. Then we have the power compact. This is a small solution for the small farms and related more for the farms with cow slurry. And then we have the power SPF and the power digest. The technology, but the most popular, the power ring and the power compact plants. So before to jump directly to the project management, to explain our experience about the market. So for example, I decide to explain about our experiences in the Indian market. I would like to make some introduction how we are going in these countries and why we are from Austria moving to US or to Asia or to the Japan and so on. Yeah, how what is the with which decision we are going there? Yeah? Sometimes we have some inquiries directly from the countries. So we have also from a lot from South Africa. That was 2008. It was the main. So we have we got every day some requests from the South Africa. So one way is to have some requests from these countries. Hello, we see big potential there. It can be the example in Australia. Or we see that in some countries there's perpetual support from the government. In Europe they have the green feeding tariff and so on. And then we see, okay, this market should be good. So there's the product demand or there's a government support. The legal framework is good. So and we can find maybe in this market also good partnership with know-how that they can help us, because they have a lot of things that you can do local and you cannot bring it abroad from Austria. But the technology, yes, but there are some concrete works and so on, they need to be done locally. So and then okay, we saw there is a big potential in, for example, India, and Then we are going there. Maybe at first we're doing the visit from the exhibition and so on. We are doing partnerships evaluation on the exhibition, because you can meet a lot of people. Some people, they are already in this biogas business, their development, or they are subcontractor from our producer from some parts from the biogas plants. And then we are checking the situation in the country, yeah, and then we need to decide how we want to doing the business in this country. So the one opportunity is to have the office there, to have a branch, or to have partnerships which can move after to license partnership. License partnerships, that mean is similar to franchising, but the partner don't need to pay any fees. We agreed in one scope, and then after the years and so on. So this is like a little bit different, yeah, because if we are talking about the partnerships or license partnerships, many people they have a different idea about how it works. And yeah, and then so we are on the market. So after this market development, so we are on the market, and we the best thing is, like we have in India, we find a potential partner, and our idea was how we go further in this market. And our idea was to start with the first project, yeah, but to start with the first project, and after the first project we will decide to go with a license contract or not, because at the moment, so we have just one license contract directly without any project in advance in Korea. We signed it 2018. Now we are starting the construction there. There's also different ways how to manage like such a partnerships, yeah. And now we're moving to the project management. I would like to explain how we are thinking about the project management, which steps we are doing all the time. But for example, in Hisar in India, so but the first step is we are doing the good planning in the beginning, before starting the construction and so on. So that means the planning is at first, which contract do we have, a direct client, or do we have a partnerships there? In our case, we have a partnerships in India with 2 companies, and this is if you have so local company, it's much easier the project development, because you have local guys, they know the local rules and so on. Yeah, you're not like a young guy jumping in the new market, in new country and so on. I can recommend to everybody, so the first steps is to find this local partner and to agree before starting the project on the planning, because it's the very important step. That means that for first, what we did is the contract, which contract we will implement for this plant. We agreed on the contract. Then the second one was to fix the budget. Sorry. Yes, with the first step. You can see on the right side, this project is done in Hisar, that is not far away from New Delhi, on the northern part of New Delhi, with the university. This is a Hisar Agra University. Then and the next picture down, you can see the all the professors in the university, and also the director of the university. So we have a really big meetings. We do the planning, the budget, we agree on the problems. Who is doing what? The biogas develop the technology, the supply, and the local guys, our partnerships, they take care of the building. That means the concrete and so on. So we are doing the planning for everything, but the implementation for this was the part of our partner. So that means, so with the planning steps, we fix the budget. We agree on this, the many meetings. So who is paying what? The budget is fixed because it's important to be in the budget all the time during this the project. Who is doing what? Who is involved in this? The project, the responsibilities was also done, and which are the problems? Which problems can we get? So, I mean, of course, we check in advance what is the electricity supply, or what is the technology rules there. If there are some other regulation not in Europe, I mean, this is a good thing to have a partner there because it's much easier. So I will not explain now what was good. I will mention more the problems and what you need to take care if you're developing the projects abroad, from my point of view, of course, because in Europe is different, and in Africa, Asia is different, and I have a lot of experience. I was in Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, so there's every country, they have a different rules. You need to check the technology, and this is everything in advance in this planning stage before starting the project. The next step, build up. That means we start to do some motivation. I mean, our team, so we got in our company, you can see the two lucky guys in the airport. So they got the news, they will be the project managers in India, and we start some motivation works and to find the teams, how to have a strong team on site, and strong team also in Austria, and strong team also in India. So I mean, from the university there was a three groups related to this project. That one of the partners, of course, with as a technology provider, then was the university with the two ladies on the top, you can see on the left side, and also the partner from India. So that means it was a very important step to be on the same page with our team, so to be on time also. And then in this phase we need to fix all the details in the budget. This is so that means we planned how often our team should be in India. So the two guys, or sometimes there was four, but for example, they are staying there all the time, 1 or 2 weeks. So they need to calculate this time, they need to book flights and so on. It is not so easy to fly to India. Now, now we have Corona, it is much worse, but I mean, this is everything in this phase. You need to find the best solution before this, and also the time schedule. Yeah, this is very important in advance, at least for 3 months in advance. When you will be there, who will be doing that and that. And we know we was very good prepared that in India everything is going very slowly. So they are not so fast. At first also that is coming from the high temperature in India, it is not so easy to work there, but very convenient time was to work in the night, what is not common in Europe, that you're working in the night, but there in India is possible, and if there's a good light available, so you can work, because in the night it's a little bit colder. exactly. Also, the weather conditions, raining and so on. This is you need to take really in consideration. This situation is very difficult for European people to go there, and this can be a big headache if the project team is not prepared for this. But we are lucky; our teams really they were everywhere in the world, so they are used to travel and to change the countries, and sometimes they are in 1 week in 4 or 5 different countries. Yeah, and we are lucky about this. With a budget, we didn't have any problems because it was everything fixed in advance in the partnerships contract. I mean, this is also important part because our client or our partner, the budget was fixed from the university because the university was the client in this case. So budget was fixed. We have just good experience with this, so there was no the problem in this step. The next step is the implementation. I mean, there's the real work for the project managers. So as you know, for international companies in Europe, everything should be planned, the visit and so on, for at least for 6 months in advance. Our experience in this with India was not so good because our partner in India, they are not so good with the planning. So I mean, we was agree on some works they need to be done in these months or in these 2 weeks, but in the end, what not everything done. So we have our experience there in India, for example, everything is going different. Yeah, and you need to know this in advance about the mentality, and you need to know that India had a lot of public holidays, and then everything is closed. You cannot work. But the important thing is to have the monitoring, to do monitoring every week, every day, to have the meetings weekly, the team meetings, and what is the very important is to have protocols. I mean, for every work that you're doing there with your partner, we are signing all the time protocols that this work is already done, and everything is written. There's no agreement, verbal agreement also. Everything is written, and this is, in our experience, for India was very important step, and we did it everything right. So because without this, in the beginning they can say I can't remember anymore, and we start this, and this is very important thing for the cooperation in the good implementation of the plant. And then we have also some problems during the implementation with the works, with the quality of works that is provided locally. I mean, the know-how is not available everywhere, and if we are talking about, for example, welding, and we have steel pipes, you need to connect the quality of these works is not, it was not the best. So we need to renew it again and again. So our biggest job was to take care of everything and to check 2 or 3 times every work, because that was our first project. Our apartment, the employees was also a new one. They didn't have experience in these biogas plants, and this is more or less learning by doing. But we know that for the first project is all the time the same. I can remember it was 7 or 8 years ago. We start, or 10. We start with the first project in UK, and in UK that was a small disaster. I mean, from the commercial point of view, that the money that your budget was not so 100% fixed. So there's all the time some surprises, but after our experience in so many countries, we was very good prepared for this the project in India. What is also a problem is the fluctuation. Sometimes few guys leave in 3 months the company, so we start to do some education and new guys, and so this is also can be a problem if you have a partner there and you need to cooperate with him for some the projects. At the end, what is done, you can see the plant. We finished with the plant, and what we are doing with closing of the project, the management. This is the handover of the project. Then we're doing training. The good thing is you can decide if you're developing such a project to do the training on site, or you can take the guys in advance and bring it to Europe in one existing plant, or one of our plants, and they can start, they can operate, or they can help with the construction. But especially in India, we did everything on site in India, because the 2019 start with this Corona, and that was not easy time, so we cannot finish. So everything is finished, but what is missing at the moment is the connection to the grid, because this is also a big issue there, the grid availability. We have all the time the shutdowns. And what is very important is also the debriefing of the team in the end. So to summarize everything and see, okay, what was wrong, what can be optimized for the next project, and so on, to get the feedback with everyone, and then for the next project is much easier. And we are finishing with, after the handover, of course, with service and the maintenance plan, which can be done with the partner or by us directly. To have a small overview, this is our project. As I mentioned, this is Power Compact in Haryana Agriculture University. So there's some overview about the different projects, how they can look like in UK or in France or in Italy. This plant in France is the biggest one that we ever built, and also the biggest agriculture biogas plant in France till now. Yes, and so if there's any question, we are happy to help and give some answers to everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Georgie, for that presentation. I think you were quite thorough, and thanks for sharing your insights and experience in terms of developing these projects in developing markets, as well as your extensive experience of the biogas sector and biogas projects. There was a question from the audience with regards to your current global relevance or your footprint as a company. So have you guys operated in Africa per se, in South Africa, Ghana, and Ethiopia? Are you guys looking to enter those markets as well?
Yes. So I mean, so we are. I'm still developing Africa. We have a few years ago a big partnerships in Cameroon, and also we start in Egypt and so on. But till now we didn't build a plant. Now we have also a few projects in the Emirates, Arabian Emirates. In South Africa, that was, I think, 8 or 9 years before. We have some plannings and some proposals, but really, yes, we are developing Africa. I'm really sorry about this because we have the opportunity to get a very nice project in the Victoria Lakes with fish residues, supported by the European Union, but we didn't won with this the tendering. It was very interesting the project, but who knows? Maybe next year we can work on this. But Africa, yes, Africa, we are open for partnerships there, and Africa is still interesting for us to develop. But we know that Africa is going very slow, very slow.
Thanks so much, Georgie. You will join us a bit later for the panel discussion as well. But I think now it's time for us to hand over to our colleague from Argentina. Jorge, are you online with us?
Yes, I'm online. I really don't know where the button of sharing the screen is in this system.
So top right hand side, just below the camera, the
Below
webcam.
the camera, okay. Below the camera. View the window mode. No, that's not one. No, I don't have any button there. View in window mode below the camera. I don't have any other.
Can you make Jorge a presenter, please?
Let's see.
Yes, okay, I'm trying to find your name.
I saw a sign in the first presenter. I had a sign popping up here to share my camera, to share my screen, but now I don't have any.
Okay. I think, Jorge, you might need to log in as a panelist with a recent link, which is I just forwarded, perhaps.
Who is talking? View everyone. Wow, what a shame.
For the delay, I still think Jorge has been logged in as the wrong link. I think he's logged in via George's link as well. Sancho, I think it might be the second Georgie.
Okay, I see. Okay, I'll make perhaps now.
Can you try now, Jorge?
It doesn't appear. I don't see anything appearing here to share. Yes, show my screen. Yes, now it appeared. Show my screen. Yes. Are you looking at my screen now? Are you seeing my screen? Are you seeing the presentation now?
Yes, you just need to put it in. Yeah, there we go. That's perfect.
Okay. Sorry. There are so many platforms. You never get. Okay, I'm going to present in this seminar what is happening down here in the southern hemisphere in Argentina regarding biogas systems. I don't know now why it's not advancing. Why? Here it is. Okay, I belong to the National Agriculture Institute in Argentina. It's a broad organization covering agriculture and agri-industrial sector all over the country. Regarding the present legal framework on biofuels and biogas, there are two laws in Argentina. One related to biofuels that is fading out this year, and is a very strong debate in the Congress nowadays to get a new law or reduce the amount of biofuels in. I know this sounds crazy, but the the lobby of the fossil fuel sector in Argentina is very strong. And the other law is regarding 8% of renewable electric energy. Many biogas plants were constructed following this law, and as I will show you. Very briefly regarding the availability of feedstock for biogas plant, you see there 3 examples. The first on the left is about the dairy farms, the middle one on feedlots and meat production, and the one in the right is about the pork production. They're just 3 examples. In overall, we have more than 360,000 TEP of potential, so it's a huge potential for the biogas sector, since the country is one of the main producers of grains and food and feed in the world. It's mainly concentrated on, as you see there, in the central part of the country. 5 or 6 provinces concentrate more than 80% of the possibilities. Here to take the real dimension of the size of the country, you see there Argentina in the same scale as Europe and the distances. So this gives an enormous opportunity for local production of energy and product transformation. So that's a good trend for biogas system possibility. We summarize here the different problems the huge agriculture sector in Argentina is facing, and how biogas could provide solutions to this. We are looking at energy deficit. We are looking at nutritional deficit of soils and organic matter concerns. We are looking at pollution of water and greenhouse emissions that could be achieved through residue treatments. Another very special characteristics of agriculture in Argentina is that more than 93% of the surface is under no tillage. So there is no tillage in Argentina for the main grain production, soybean, corn, wheat, etc. So we need to work in biogas technology in order to how to match the digestate use in this environment of no touching the soil. And also there are multiple and complex interactions, and we need to find out how biogas systems fit in this. We're looking here at co-products, at national and international regulations, at food demand patterns changes. Everything is changing in the world, so we need to rapidly adapt the systems in order to cope with these new interactions. They are popping up every day in the world. So the present situation in the last 5 years, many new biogas plants are popping up. Most of them were origin of European technology. We are looking there at typical European style biogas plant in different provinces. You see there the project situation in Argentina from 2016 till the end of 2019. There were around 52 new plants, around 1 to 2 megawatt size. There are 24 companies in the biogas sector, and special providers were developed. Construction companies that are now specialized in building biogas tanks and effluent recipients, etc. There are other industry companies providing parts and components for biogas plants, as electric devices, pipes, pumps, controllers, etc. And now some of the biogas companies in Argentina are looking to overseas possible markets to export their experience from here to other parts, and there is a great possibility of joint ventures with different companies around the world. Some of the plans have been implemented in the circular economy concept. We are looking here. We have 4 of these type of plants in the country. You have a mini distillery of 5,000 liters of ethanol per day, that's an Argentine technology provider. Those plants can be remotely operated. Then you have a feedlot with 3,000 animals, and we have the biodigesters. So the biodigesters are fed with the thin stillage coming out from the bioethanol plant and from the manure coming from the feedlot, and the fertilizer goes into the fields in this biogas done right concept. We have also this type of circular concept in big industrial cornstarch bioethanol plants with a complex of 6 megawatt plants and more than 1,500 hectares of fertilizers. That's another concept is regarding the traditional feedlot farm, where biogas plants have been implemented now in order to produce electricity, produce thermal energy, and also digest it for the corn farming. We also have acquired experience in improving the bioethanol plant's performance, including the biogas plants working on thin stillage. We are looking there at the greenhouse reductions rate of bioethanol that's increased from 57% to 67% with the energy allocation factor we use as the red 2 of the directive of European Union we are following. How farmers are adopting biogas systems. Some are through the cooperative system, small and large, at large scale. We have also associations of group of farmers investing in agro-industrial transformation of grains, mainly bioethanol plants and biogas plants. We also have project developers linked to recent feed-in tariff electrical incentives. We have new blockchain and energy certification credit companies that are looking for this new business, and of course we also have independent big farmers that have big pockets to invest in this type of plans. We also have big companies that have an enormous experience in liquid and compressed natural gas. We have more than 2.5 million vehicles running on compressed natural gas in the country. So we foresee that with the local technology and the gas sector growing up, there is a huge opportunity for biomethane and vehicular use of biomethane in the country. The company is called Galileo and the technology is CRYOBOX. This enables to reduce 600 times the volume reaching the diesel energy density. That's one of the key factor of this technology. We face new challenges regarding environmental studies. We in INTA are performing life cycle assessment studies on commercial plants, learning on the integration of biogas plants and bioethanol and agriculture as a whole. We highlight the importance of synergy in order to reduce emissions, the intelligent use of energy, and the reduction of methane emissions of residues. Just to show you up here some results of the life cycle assessments, how we can achieve different greenhouse reduction rates depending on how wise we are on energy use. We only use the electric energy produced, we achieve only 61% of greenhouse reduction. But if we use the combined thermal and electric use of the digester output, we can achieve nearly 80% of greenhouse reduction. Regarding the energy efficiency of biogas plants, we are moving out of energy crops and moving into more and more crop and agro-industrial residues for running the biogas plant. So you see there the figures. We are moving away from an energy efficiency of around 3 and moving into an energy efficiency of around 6. So 6 times more energy than the energy we are putting into the system. We also foresee an enormous opportunity in the carbon sequestration on digested use in the country. This is the last revision on the potential of capturing and putting carbon into the soil. That's a study finished last year in the country. And this is linked to these new markets and the new protocols for measuring and reporting and verification of carbon capture in soils. We have to look very closely to this opportunity in the next years. So we are now in actual phase of emergency in the country. So we have negative signs. Government is concentrated in immediate relief to the poorest sectors of the populations. We are one of the countries that has hit most severely by coronavirus, with one of the highest death rates in the world, and our economy has suffered a lot. So renewable energy policies are practically in a standby situation, and inflation, currency depreciation is a dangerous cocktail for medium and long investments in biogas plants at the present stage. And as I mentioned, the fossil fuel lobby against biofuels is a reality in these days. Looking at the positive trends, we as a country have increased the commitments in greenhouse reductions, and we are presently developing the NDCs during these years, and we're strongly working to promote biogas as a mean of reducing greenhouse reductions. We have robust and reliable studies over biomethane possibility.
Okay, sorry, Yoki, to interrupt you. Just a couple more minutes to finish off. Thanks.
Yes, I'm finishing. Yes, 2 more minutes. We have also action supported by provincial and local governments, and we have higher commodity prices of grains that permit farmers to invest. These are the local associations related to biogas in Argentina. These are the need to integrate the DBCO with another initiatives we're working on as the Global Methane Initiative and the Biogas Done Right. And finish up, these are the sites you can go in and have a more deep view of what's happening and some tours on different biogas plants in Argentina. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that very insightful presentation, Jorge. There was two questions, quick questions from the audience that I feel we can ask you to answer quite quickly. The first one is that is it possible for you to provide more details on the yields per ton of agricultural residues that are being produced in Argentina? So I'm assuming that that would be in the market and framework document for that DBQ has published as well. Can you provide some insight on where they might be able to access that potential?
Yes, one way to address this is through our document in DBCO. I am wondering if it's already available in our website. There are several studies on residue availability in the country through the Ministry of Agriculture Biomasa project. There are several studies using done at a national level, at a provincial level, with great detail, and we also have a geographical information system in order to match the amount of residues being produced to the actual location in the country.
Fantastic, thanks, Jorge. And then the second question would be, is there, can you assist interested parties or stakeholders that are looking to develop biogas projects with the sort of anaerobic cultures to sort of commission those plants should they decide to build biogas plants within Argentina? Are you able to assist them with sort of seeding material to commission those plants?
Seeding materials to the startup of digesters, I think you're meaning.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Yes, startup of plants has been a problem in some of the plants. Mainly, some of them were left in the middle of the startup process when the coronavirus developed. So they faced, especially those dealing with certain type of residues, for example, as cobs and residue coming from the seed producing plants. No, so yes, we look forward to collaborate and have assistance in that part. I think that's a very important point and a critical stage in the biogas plants when especially on the starting up period.
Thank you very much, Jorge. I think we can shift to the next portion of the web seminar, which will be the panel discussion. So I'm going to ask all our panelists, Dwight and Dennis, to switch on your cameras, as well as Georgie and Jorge to switch on your cameras as well to join the panel discussion, so that we can take that discussion forward on those two presentations that were given. As I've mentioned previously, I've given a good introduction to Dwight and Dennis, Jorge, and Georgie. I'd like to start off the panel discussion by just starting off with Dwight and just asking him whether he can share some of the lessons learned from particularly the biogas project that's Electrobuilt developed and implemented within the Free State province of South Africa. Dwight, would you like to share with us your experience and insights with regard to this project?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Yasin. You can hear me well?
Yes, we can.
Hello? Yeah, okay. So yes, we did a mining project in the Free State province. It's a wonderful project. possibly the first of its kind in the world. You know, what made it unique was a bioremediation and a bioenergy project rolled into one. The bioremediation comes from that we were growing energy crops on highly impacted mine land. And through a process called phytoremediation, over years, the heavy metals would have been taken out of the mine land from the crops. The energy crops were then put into an anaerobic digester, and that produced a fuel to be used in the elution columns and the carbon regeneration kilns. So it was a totally green solution. Energy crops, phytoremediation, fixing up the soil, and then biogas to replace fossil fuels, primarily in the elution columns, polyfuel, which is a kind of dirty diesel, and then electricity in the carbon regeneration kilns. So what are the lessons learned? First of all, I think one has to try and reduce your school fees as much as possible. This is, for us, a new industry, new technology, new customers, and you've rolled that all up into one bunch. You know, we'd never worked on a mine before, and then all of a sudden, you've got the mining kind of norms and standards, going through the safety, where normally a safety file will take you a day. Yeah, you can be 3 weeks with trying to get a safety file through. So, you know, if we were luckily appointed as consultants on the project, if we were the main EPC, we would have done our boots, because we didn't understand the nuances in dealing in the mining industry. Second thing, I think is you need to have the right technology.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So regarding the energy crops you mentioned, I personally think that the only way to face an opportunity for energy crops are crops that will not compete with the actual use of the surface of the land, and the opportunity is the cover crops. No, cover crops are increasing very rapidly in Argentina. We usually had 4 to 6 months the land without crops between the corn and the next soybean on the next year, for example. And now we are promoting photosynthesis all over the year. So this gives us an enormous amount of excess of biomass being produced by those cover crops, and that is an enormous opportunity for biogas plants. We see that a lot of experience in Italy we made with the biogas done right concept, where many farmers have introduced these cover crops or intercropping and increase the availability of biomass to feed the digesters, and then go back to the field with the digestate as a fertilizer.
Yeah, Jorge, thank you very much. Yeah, we're talking about the project in the Free State, which we're involved in, but the consideration of energy crops there is that we were using land that could not be used for food production because of the contamination from heavy metals. And what we were very careful about is looking at energy crops that couldn't be used as a food as well. So just to get back to the points that we're making, you know, I think the key is to get the right technology partner. You want to sleep at night, and how do you know if you got the right technology partner? And to me, the lesson learned is that you need to have a technology partner that can post a bankable guarantee. It's no use just saying, we've done that before, we've been there, we can show you things. Working in South Africa, working in Africa, working in developing areas is totally different to working in Europe. But, you know, so I think the key is to sit down and say to the technology partner, there is your work package, give me a bankable guarantee, and that way you can sleep at night. It's really, you don't want to buy equipment, you don't want to buy technology, you want to buy outcomes. You want to know that what your technology partner says is going to be done is actually done.
Thanks so much.
There are a few points in general. Sorry?
I said thanks so much for those insights. We'll come back to you in a second. I just want to get some insight from Dennis with regards to the project he worked on in Cape Town, which was a little bit different to the project that was worked on in Free State. Dennis, would you like to maybe share some insights that you guys learned from that project, from a project management perspective, and how that project has sort of developed and unfolded, so to speak? I think you're on mute, Dennis.
Now should be okay. Sorry, I had an alarm in the background, so I muted myself. But I think it's gone now. So thanks, Yazin, and thanks, Tibiko, for having me in the panel discussion. And yeah, happy to share some info, some details on the project here in Cape Town. Maybe just as a quick short background of Energia, what we are and what was our role in this project. As Energia, we are a global company, a technology provider and equipment supplier. And in the project in Cape Town, the one you're speaking about, we were the main technology provider, but we were not involved in the project development or the owner of the project. So just as a disclaimer. But I think something what Dwight also mentioned as a lesson learned, or something which is very important. Two things what I want to go there, Dwight. As you said, the technology partner is key, and obviously as technology provider, I would like to support that, and I think it's very true. And I think for emerging countries, it's also very important what we realize as Energia, that local presence is very important. And I think, Georgie, you also mentioned it in your presentation before, that local presence in these countries is very important. You might not have to open an office as Energia with it in South Africa, but you need to have the local partnerships. You need to be on the ground. You can't just come in and go out. So I think this is something which we learned, and I think what we learned successfully in Africa. And not only with the project you're speaking about in Cape Town, we operated, designed, and constructed further projects in South Africa and in Kenya. So I can just support these points you guys made before. And then in terms of school fees, what you mentioned twice, the project in Cape Town, I think the project developers and the bank paid high school fees for these projects. This project is a municipal solid waste project, so municipal solid waste to energy project. So your feedstock is your unsorted black bag, which I think is a bit more complicated than a pure organic or energy crops project. So the development of project management in these kind of projects is very important. And I think there's two main factors which count for all biogas projects, but I think especially for municipal solid waste projects, which is the one component is your feedstock security. Yassine, you mentioned you discussed feedstock in previous sessions already. I'm not going to go into too much detail there. And the second part is offtake. It's offtake. And you need to have a solid feedstock agreement or a solid feedstock supply, as if you have the crops like in Twice project, but you also need to have a solid offtake. And look, in biogas projects or waste energy, it's not only like in solar projects where you have your sun as an input and the electricity as an output. you have many variable inputs and you have many variable outputs. So you don't only have your energy, which in our project in Cape Town, for example, wasn't electricity, because there's not an easy electricity offtake in South Africa. So we upgraded the biogas into biomethane and CO2 for a private industrial off-taker, which was sorted out. However, you have other outputs in your biogas plant, and it was mentioned before, you have your digestate, and in a municipal solid project, you also have your residues from the packaging and all of that. So just to underline again, school fees and project management, do your homework and sort out these very two important factors: feedstock, offtake. Yeah.
So much for that insights, Dennis. I think it speaks to your Georgie's presentation as well as Joche's presentation. And coming back to Georgie, you gave a very detailed presentation on how you approach from biogas, but just in terms of an additional question to you, what would you say is the common sort of misconception or lack of understanding or skills or technology or lack of legislative knowledge within your local partners that you come across in these developing markets? What would you say is the common sort of stumbling block you keep coming across as you enter various developing markets? Georgie, would you say
Yes.
it's a legislation framework, or would you say it's more the lack of technology know-how?
I mean,
Yeah,
there's many factors or legislation. I mean, this is important, especially in India. The biggest problem was the local know-how and the quality of the implementation of the works, because it was really funny. Some people told me, because if you're building a plant, so that means this plant needs to run 20 years at least. So yeah, and we're expecting our plants are running 8,300 hours per year. And they told me, but this is not normal for India. In India, the normal way is that if you build something, in 3 months, it will never work anymore. This is the normal standard. So why you are not following with the standards? Okay. I mean, look, the quality, yeah, and I think the biggest problem is the quality of the implementation and also the know-how. Yeah? But if you have a good partner on site, so they can cover a lot of things or take care about, to know in advance what are the internal rules, because you know it's nobody follow exactly the rules in this country. So they have some other ways to solve some problems and so on. But the very important thing is to have a really good partner there to help you with all the problems there, and to make you, to open your eyes, but to see the problem and where's the problem and where's not a problem. But yeah, this is a challenge. Yeah, this is, and I can imagine, yeah, similar. Believe in somewhere in Indonesia. I was there, or in the Philippines, so far away from the big towns, to establish a plant there, or in Malaysia with empty fruit benches from the palm oil industry. You know, you're in a real area, there is no concrete available. You need to find other solutions. And so this is, but it's make fun. So it's a good, because I mean, in Europe, to build a plant is not a problem, you know. But to build a plant in India, to supply the full plant as a European company, this is a good thing, yeah, a good sign, because the most of the European companies, if they are supplying something, like, I mean, the key technology, they are supplying some parts maybe, but to deliver the full plant is, because you know the price level is a big issue to implement, to install European technology in Africa and in Asia. You know, the price level is there and the local level is there, and you can find the solution to deliver the key technology, but to take care, to give all the guarantees is also a big challenge, because you know, if you deliver everything from Europe, it will be much expensive, and nobody will sign such a contract because they don't have the money there. Not everyone have the money for this, and then you know, you're responsible as European company for the key technology, but you need to cover also the guarantees. And yeah,
thanks so much, Georgie, for those insights. It's very valuable to hear from sort of a technology provider or project turnkey provider from an established market, relaying the experience of working in developed markets. But I think that sort of lines up perfectly for the next question to Jorge from Argentina. Jorge, you've worked with a couple of these projects within Argentina. Perhaps you can relay the perspective from the site owners or the feedstock generators that are partnering with established technology providers. What are the sort of key requirements or considerations that you feel maybe a European partner or an external partner would need to sort of adhere to or acknowledge if they were to enter the Argentinian market and develop a project within biogas project within Argentina?
Okay. Yes, first of all, there is a strong need to know the local possibilities of parts and components providers, and build up partnerships, because it's very difficult from long distances to provide solutions. So there is a strong need to work together. In some of the plants, even the owners of the plants had to face this challenge to find solutions for specific feedstocks. They had problems in the pretreatment phase, so they developed solutions with local providers. So we have a very strong agriculture machinery and industry in the country, and also the grain transformation industry is huge. So there are quite a lot of companies that can provide solutions for the biogas plants, and that needs to be enlarged. No, the joint ventures between local and external providers. I see that as one of the key lessons of the European technology plants and companies that have been working in the country. That would summarize the answer to your question.
Thanks so much, Jorge, and I think that's a common theme now in terms of the importance of this sort of collaboration between the stakeholders from developed markets to sort of local developing markets. And coming back to Dwight, because you initially started off with mentioning the right technology partner, are there any sort of other key requirements that you feel is key for a collaboration between a local partner and a external or foreign partner to sort of work well together in developing these projects?
Yeah, I want to support what Georgie said there about developing product that can be used in developing areas. Yes, you're going to have to cut corners to come out on costs, but you can't cut corners to the expense of the project. You can't. All too often we say, oh, we'll do it this way, and then you can't deliver on what you promised. The other thing is to design for the area. So, you know, if you in a developing area, you're not going to have a ready supply of engineers and operators that can fix these plants or maintain or operate them. So, you know, what's becoming very important today is the control and monitoring suites and how you can support the local project owner through that means.
Thank you, Dwight, and that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, I think a lot of the points that everyone is raising will definitely help develop a pipeline within this developing market, so to speak. I'm going to give the last question to Dennis. Just also touching on that collaboration between local and foreign stakeholders in the developing market. You're obviously a part of a much larger company that works on a global scale. What do you think, or what insights can you share in terms of key requirements that would be needed to drive the success of these sort of collaborations in developing and implementing biogas projects?
Yeah, and I think I want to support there again also what Dwight said for not cutting corners. So I think that again that local partnerships are very important. So in terms of, you know, our global company and let's say proven technology and equipment, that's at the core equipment we don't want to cut corners. So that is the stuff we would, you know, import and bring from foreign countries, which then is also your hard currencies, euros and dollars when it comes in. But all of the like local work, installation, construction, concrete tanks, even steel tanks, piping, all of that we're trying to localize as much as possible without cutting corners, so we can still guarantee the, you know, the quality of the plant as well as the functionality and the process and all of that. And there it comes down again, I think, almost to local presence, if it has to be an office or a local partner. But without a local presence on the ground, you cannot, you know, start and create this kind of local network of suppliers and installation companies. And I think that is the key requirement to guarantee still the quality of your plant, but keeping the local pricing in order, let's say.
Thanks so much, Dennis. And I think just want to check if there's any questions from the audience. I don't see any on my side, but I want to say a big thank you to the speakers and panelists that joined us for this web seminar. I think to summarize it, I think the key to sort of a good project management strategy for developing and implementing biogas projects in developing markets is that collaboration and good relationship between your experienced developer and your local presence, so that you can help develop sort of a project that doesn't cut too much corners, or doesn't cut corners without compromising the quality of the project. And that's quite key. As Georgie mentioned, these projects are essentially 15 to 20-year lifespan projects, and you want to make sure that it's established at a high quality, and you would want to lean on the experience of stakeholders that have developed these projects, but also help the local developing markets grow and develop those experience and skills, and share that sort of supply chain line, like Dennis mentioned, and Dwight and Joche as well mentioned, to make sure that you can develop a sustainable pipeline of projects and grow those biogas markets. I just want to say again a big thank you to all our speakers and panelists. In terms of the DebiCoo webinar series, web seminar series, our next one is provisionally scheduled for the 5th of August, and will cover an overview of European gasification technologies and their adaptation to other markets. However, please look out for the notification when it is announced, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. A recording of this web seminar will be available on the DebiCoo website and DebiCoo's YouTube channel. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending and for your attention, and we hope to see you soon. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to collaborate.